This is Dharma Drops with your host, Rebecca Warfield. This podcast is a little bit about yoga, a little bit about life, and a little bit about whatever. And just as a warning, this podcast is unscripted, so that means I might regret a few things that I say. But hey, maybe I'll say some pretty awesome stuff too. Remember, these are musings, not truths. Buckle up, giddy up, because here we go. What they're talking about. Everyone, the guests are always fine. It's me. I'm like, what was I just talking about?
I do that too.
Yeah.
I catch the vata. So
I understand.
do our best.
So if that happens, it doesn't matter. Obviously, we can edit anything out. So cool. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, oh, that's the other thing. I have some allergies and I'm coughing, so we might have to stop and let me cough sometimes.
No problem.
Or I can just cough in the microphone. It'll be amazing for everyone. So how are you?
I'm great.
Good. Friends, this is my friend, Noelle Whittington, and we are here in her room chilling in Wilmington, North Carolina. It's only taken us, 3 weeks to get this podcast recording worked out?
That's because it's so important.
It's that. Oh my gosh. I don't know what the problem is. Like, what's wrong with us?
We're both two of the busiest women in Wilmington, I think.
Ever.
Yeah.
This lifestyle is a hustle. I know this happens to you. People all the time are like, oh, I bet teaching yoga is so fun and so relaxing. No, fuck off. Because it is like the most stressful thing I've ever done.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you must be so fit and so flexible and so peaceful. And I'm like, well, yes, and?
Yeah, and I also don't get to practice as much as I used to. And like trying to find time to do any meditation or any self-care practices or anything like that, out the door all the time. Do you find time to do your own practice?
I find that I have, over the years, cultivated non-judgment self-love, which lets me allow my practice to be whatever it is. If it's taking a nap or walking outside, or if it's getting on that little rubber mat, that doesn't happen as much as I would like, honestly. Yeah. But if I'm open to just something that I want to do, like free time is self-care for me.
Yeah.
Free time?
Free time? What's free time? Never heard of that before. I think I could probably do a better job cultivating that sentiment. I get really wrapped up in asana and I have to practice. But actually, I have new merchandise in my online store. This is just good timing. Thanks for bringing this up. That are these cute little self-care cards and these self-care planners. And one of the reasons why I opted to sell them is because often the things I offer are the things I'm having the hardest time doing myself. Oh, yeah. Because I know I'm not the only one out there who can't figure out how to get shit done and take good care of myself. I mean, maybe I am, but I don't think so.
Well, don't we teach the things that we want to learn anyway?
Yes. Yeah. I hope so. I try to, I think that's the whole point. But I'm pretty big, I don't know what the word is. I'm a stickler about self-care because I say this all the time on social media, but I really don't think that self-care is just Netflix and chill. If you get really honest right now, self-care for me would be getting my chores done in my house. Yeah. Because I'm so busy doing all this other stuff, trying to run my business and my podcast, the dishes go undone, the laundry goes unfolded. Anyone who listens to this podcast knows I hate folding laundry. It's the worst, but I have these little self-care cards and the self-care planner. They're cool because they make space for all of that.
Oh, I need that.
Some of the cards are tidy up your house. Some of the cards say say no, but then others are have a floral foot soak, so it's a nice balance. So, just a side note, if you're interested, you can go to dharmadropspodcast.com/offerings
and get them. Today.
Yeah, do it. You can buy them, my stuff on Facebook now. I just discovered this last night. You can have a Facebook store. That blows my mind.
Cool.
Yeah. So you could sell your stuff on Facebook maybe because you're doing all sorts of really cool things. Can you share with us, Noelle, a little bit about what you're doing? New stuff that I didn't even know that you do.
Okay. Well, if I have met you before, you probably know that I teach yoga. I've been teaching yoga in Wilmington since 2007. And I teach yoga classes and teacher trainings and workshops. But also, I just had a chant student over FaceTime this morning.
That's so cool.
I teach chanting. I teach mantra. I teach how to hold space. I teach, I'm a mentor for yoga teachers and for people that have yoga businesses.
I didn't know any of this about you. So you were one of my first yoga teachers in Wilmington. I think I've told you this before at Harmony Yoga, which is no longer here, but in our hearts, yes. So you were one of my first teachers here. That's okay. If you hit the chord, oh, did it pop out?
Oh, there it is.
Hi. We're back. Luckily, it's not live, but I have a tendency not to cut that stuff out. But anyway, so you were one of my first yoga teachers. And of course, at the time, yoga to me was just basically, like a lot of people who started yoga practice, a workout, right? But I think what's really cool is you're taking what you do as a yoga teacher into a new area for, I would say for a lot of people in the West, they're not really familiar with bhakti and chanting and such. So how did you get involved into those yogic practices?
So music is the thing that led me to what I'm doing now. And anyone that has been doing something for more than 7 or 8 years, which I think is like, it's usually like a cycle for people, like 7 or 8 years is the point where you become questioning what you're doing and if you're still committed to it or how it's going to grow. Relationships, jobs,
I was just about to say relationships. They call it the 7-year itch.
Yeah, I definitely have had that in the past.
Yeah, it was 7 years for me, and I was like, I'm not teaching English full time anymore. Done. You know.
I've been there with yoga like so many times.
I just had this conversation last night that I hit these points with yoga over and over and over, and I haven't been teaching for 7 years. I guess it's been maybe getting 5-ish years, but I've been teaching now for almost 12 years. So I hit these cycles with like, do I really want to teach? Do I have the energy to offer these things anymore? And then I say no. And then I'm like, yes, I do. Of course. I love this. You know, so I go back and forth between these things all the time.
Yeah. I find that there's a lot of things that I do that aren't exactly my choice, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like even if I said, no, I don't want to do these things anymore, I would find a way to evolve into still doing that. Like I've noticed that teaching is something that I've been doing ever since college. I taught freshman computing courses.
Oh, you did?
At NC State.
I didn't. You're like this mystery person to me. Who are you?
I have like 8 heads, like Durga, you know. So yeah, I'm also a nerd, and
nerds are awesome.
Yes, I have a computer background as well, and I'm trying to use it now for all this technology stuff I'm trying to do.
That's so cool.
But the thing that brought me into the bhakti world, we got it. We did it.
Yeah, we did it. We're back on track.
2 vatas and a microphone. It's like 2 turntables.
We did it, and now we're off topic again.
Here we are. So music got me there. I remember going to, out in the world, anywhere where you hear music, and then once I started really taking yoga and really teaching yoga, it was the mantra infused music, and the quality of mantra was something that was just hypnotic for me, and I didn't really know what I was listening to, but I have a very musical mind. Like I can still remember my friends' phone numbers from like 6th grade when it had a dial tone and you could hear the beeps.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I saw something the other day that mentioned that there's like a whole generation of people now who have never heard a dial tone.
Oh.
Isn't that really weird?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. People keep getting born.
Yeah. Over and over. They just keep showing up.
There's all these people in the world. So I would listen to a song in a yoga class and it would really get me, and I would look up what I thought the words were. Like I would try to phonetically sound out the Sanskrit. And at the time I didn't really know anything about Sanskrit, and so I would be like Om Mani Padmas. What? And so then I would look up all the different variations of that, and eventually it would lead me to mantras, and it wouldn't be the thing that I heard, but I would learn, and I learned like that, and that was just sort of like my side gig was learning about music.
Mantra's really interesting to me because generally when you're first hearing it, you have no idea what they're saying and no idea what it means. And I do believe that if you practice anything enough, obviously practice all is coming, you'll figure it out. But mantra is one of those things where like if you just listen enough, you will at least understand the pronunciation. Of course, the teachings say it doesn't even matter if you know what it means. Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Right. Sanskrit specifically is a meaning-based, not a meaning-based, sorry, an energy-based language. So even if intellectually you don't understand what it is or what the words are or what it means, you'll still get the effects.
Right.
So I was getting that effect and I was feeling a particular way. And the thing that I love about learning about mantras and bhakti yoga in general is just your own personal experience with your own soul. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was really love. And that has been a healing journey for me, I think, like for all of us. So I just wanted to find a way to infuse music in my life. And I had played piano before when I was little, and I played clarinet because I wanted to play the saxophone.
Oh.
But I never made it to saxophone.
Is there like a progression with that? Like clarinet, then saxophone?
I went to a school for 2 years that, in order to get to saxophone, you were required to play the clarinet first for 2 years. But I only went to that school for 2 years. So it was clarinet and then no sax. So... But that's okay. I found my wind instrument later in life.
But you're not holding on to a grudge, right?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't. I enjoyed playing the clarinet, but like when I think about it now, I'm like, do I even really like the sound of a saxophone? Like I feel like it takes, other than the Saturday Night Live theme song, like I don't really find sax in like modern music that I enjoy personally.
Yeah.
It's a tricky instrument.
Yeah, unless it's like part of an orchestra or something, you know, and it's like blended in with the rest of the music or something. But I don't really think about like the saxophone often.
Right.
Sorry, saxophone players. There's probably gonna be like an angry mob of saxophone players after us soon. But
we admire your skill.
We do,
and
we love music.
Yeah, we do. But my next wind instrument was clearly supposed to be the harmonium.
Oh, I love the harmonium.
Me too. So the way that I figured out what the harmonium was my friend Garish played it at this yoga class where our friend Keegan White.
Keegan, she was on Dharma Drops.
She was. Cool. Love you. Hey, Keegs. So she taught a class at, I think it was Hot Asana in Durham, and he came and played, or maybe it was the owner, Virginia. I heard him play and I was like, that's the sound I've been hearing, and now I'm seeing it live. And so I just annoyed him until he told me what it was and how to buy one, and he kind of helped me out. And so I found my harmonium and I got all these resources and just basically played it for hours every single day for a few years now, and here we are. So,
you know, when I got my first harmonium, sorry, we're kicking all the equipment today. Oops, sorry guys. When I first got my harmonium, I played so much. I called it a harmonium hand. My hand was sore, from like pumping the bellows, you know, and I was like, oh, my hand.
Keys hand gets sore. Actually, it is right now.
You know, it makes my left shoulder gets tired. I think just from holding it out, you know. But so, I mean, this is a full contact sport, you guys.
Totally. It is. I know my mom was like, because I was circling my wrist last night when we were together. She's like, what's wrong with your hand? It's like, well, I've been playing harmonium for a lot of time, and the way that I play it, it's not very ergonomically correct.
Yeah. I don't know if the instrument itself lends itself to ergonomic correctness.
Right.
You know, it's a little off balance.
If I pulled it up in my lap like Krishna Das does, it would probably be a little bit more, but...
My harmonium's huge. So when I ordered mine, the guy that I bought it from at Keshav, he was like, I really think you should get a travel one. And I was like, I don't want a travel one. I want like a big, beautiful harmonium. And now I'm like, this fucker is so heavy. And like, I feel like I can't take it anywhere.
They're so heavy. Even my travel one is super heavy.
Is it? God.
Yeah.
So when Johanna Beekman was here, obviously she did an episode of Dharma Drops too, I noticed her harmonium was so little.
She's got the little bava. They're so sweet. They've got
tiny.
Good sound, but it's hard to make it stay resonant.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It kind of,
Yeah.
You got to pump it.
That's where you get that shoulder pain from.
Right.
So you learn to play the harmonium, and that was the beginning?
Yeah, learning how to play the music was my introduction to bhakti yoga, and also subsequently learning the mantras and having that own personal, spiritual divine experience helped me really find my way back to my own belief system and helped, with every aspect of my life too. And through learning the mantras and wanting to really understand the culture and what I was trying to say, and also learning sacred texts was something that I was already interested in from teaching yoga, and especially teaching yoga teacher trainings. It's important for us, I think, as yoga teachers, hopefully we feel a responsibility to maintain integrity in our lineage and to bring together all 8 limbs and teach people that. So I really wanted to understand not only what I was trying to say and having my own personal experience, but doing it in a way that was respectful to, my teachers and to the lineage, and that I could eventually share it with people, because it was so much joy for me, just more than I've ever experienced.
Yeah. And as you're talking, I was thinking, about teaching yoga teacher training and how complicated it is to be. Sorry, let me sit up on this pillow. Oh, guys listening, we're like a mess today. We're sitting on the floor.
Don't we always?
Yeah, we do. And we have the microphone on 2 shoe boxes.
Yes.
This is high tech recording. But that it's a tricky thing to be a yogi and a yoga teacher in the West, and to honor the teachings, but also keep things relatable to people in the West, because I feel like things can get so esoteric and so out there sometimes, and so disconnected from our own Western experiences, that people are like, the fuck are they talking about? Like, yoga's weird,
right.
Or we live in the South, so, it conflicts with a lot of people's beliefs.
Oh, yes,
here,
I know.
So it's a tricky thing to be able to balance and like sort of navigate and negotiate these two worlds.
And really learning about mantras and Sanskrit and bhakti yoga itself helped me to relate to other people in that way, because I wanted to make it palatable, not to water it down in any way, because when we're nervous about how someone will receive our teachings or our offerings, then we limit our ability to connect with them, because it's not fair. It's like the way that they receive or experience something is none of our business to a certain extent, but I just had such a great responsibility, I thought, to offer it in a way that is relatable, and to make it joyful, and to continue it in a way that is applicable to, like, being a person in the South in 2019, and what are we actually doing here?
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? Isn't that the question?
Yeah. How did I get here?
Yeah. Oh God, who knows? How did I get here?
Well, your mommy and your daddy.
Oh my God! Don't tell me it's true. And then they hated each other.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole different. Our lifetime traumas. That's a different podcast. Yeah. So now you're doing a lot of work in bhakti, and you said chanting, harmonium lessons. So is this like sort of like the main thing that you're doing now?
Well,
pardon me.
I guess I'm doing all of those things simultaneously. The main thing that I'm doing, and the thing that I'm sort of perpetually doing, is leading the Kunga Yoga lifestyle teacher trainings, the 200 and 300 hour. So that is my main gig. It takes up a lot of time, and it's great because we are offering sort of an interdisciplinary approach to yoga with information on how to be an activist and how to be of service in the world.
Oh, nice.
So that is really important to me, and I really believe in our mission, and being able to give back, not only financially, but in all the ways. And then for me, for fun, it's all fun. Like, I'm so grateful that everything that I'm doing, I feel called to do, and I love my life.
And not many people can say that.
Yeah, and it's tricky.
Now it was my turn to kick the shoe boxes.
One day we're going to have this, like, whitewashed shiplap studio situation with, like, couches, and we'll have, like, lattes. I don't know.
It's going to happen.
It will.
Sooner rather than later.
I see it.
Me too.
I can see it for you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can come over. We can record more podcasts. We can hang out. We can chant together. It's going to be awesome.
Totally. Dharma Drops forever.
Yeah.
And I forgot what we were talking about.
Me too.
Okay, great.
We're back.
The main things that I'm doing. Okay. So, like, while I'm teaching the teacher trainings, and we do affiliate studios, so I'm about to start a teacher training in Florence, South Carolina.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually wearing the Flowtown shirt right now.
Oh, cool.
Represent.
Hey, Flowtown, you guys.
And also in Blacksburg, Virginia, and at Village Yoga in the Outer Banks, and in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So
I used to live there.
Really?
I lived there for 6 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So my ex was a Marine.
Huh.
Yeah. Huh. That's why he's my ex. Sorry.
I'm gonna drink some water.
Yeah. You know, yogis, it's just not the right town. Well, actually, the yoga scene in Jacksonville has changed so much.
My girl Danny Marshburn
Danny!
is a motherfucking soldier of love.
Oh, yeah.
I have to use the F word for her because she is
That's what this podcast is for.
She has opened up that town in ways that have created so many opportunities for so many people. I'm so proud of her. I love you, Danny.
She's amazing. Danny, we love you. I like that you called her a motherfucking soldier of love.
She is.
She is. She's amazing.
She's Wonder Woman, really.
Yeah, and she loves Wonder Woman. So she is Wonder Woman.
She, in fact, is Wonder Woman. I'm actually doing a kirtan there on Friday night.
Oh, nice.
So if anyone does still live in Jacksonville and still likes us after this podcast, come see me from 7 to 8:30 at Infinite Yoga and Wellness.
They love us.
They totally love what we just said.
We can edit anything out. It's fine.
Yeah.
So here you are teaching bhakti, teaching mantra. So can you talk a little bit more about what that experience is like?
Okay. So because I have been so involved in teaching yoga teacher trainings and getting our Kunga school up to a particular point, the bhakti teachings, for me, learning all of it. I'm constantly learning. You know, I'm just so grateful for this practice. It has been slow for me, and especially, like you said, in the South, I wanted to find a way to offer what was really important to me and what was very personal and spiritual in a way that people could relate to. And so I did my very first Bhakti Yoga series class at Longwave recently.
Oh, yes,
And
that's
so
right.
That was great. Mm-hmm. It was called Summer of Love, which is so sweet. So now I'm focusing more on, in addition to everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to cultivate online courses so that I can...
I know all about them.
You do, and you're so professional in your offerings.
Oh my gosh, thanks. But the funny thing is, I'm such a wackadoo. Well, I'm glad I come across that way.
Yeah, you totally, like, in the offerings that you have online, you're actually a great inspiration for me because...
Hey, thank you.
You know, you want it to look professional. If anyone were to meet you, they would fall in love with you. And so if we ever have the personal experience of somebody, I think it's much easier for them to sign on for, the stuff that you're offering, right? But I'm getting tired, you guys. Like, I want to create passive income. And so I have all of these, like, I'm an Ayurveda teacher. I'm a yoga teacher. I am officially now a mantra teacher. So I want to take all of these things that I know and create systems with them so that I can help more people and just let it grow and let it grow and let it grow. And if I had my way, and I will have my way
because this is your life.
Because we work on that every single day as yogis. I will focus on yoga retreats a few times a year, and I'll do, a few yoga teacher trainings. And I feel that I am most helpful in smaller groups where we can go really deep with one another. Like, I definitely feel helpful and effective as a space holder and as a facilitator.
No, and I can't say this with 100% certainty, but from just a traditional education standpoint and based upon what I know from traditional ancient yogic teachings, they weren't packed out classes of 300 people. It wasn't a big old yoga festival, cuddle puddle love fest, right? And even like in traditional or modern education, even though class sizes are changing, the smaller the group, the better we learn.
The better, absolutely. I remember in college, I have a textile degree from NC State, and
see, you are a unicorn. I don't know any of this stuff about you. You're one of a kind. Textile, computers, yoga, mantra, anything you don't do.
I just want to learn everything.
I understand that, and that's a blessing and a curse, I think.
There's not enough hours in the day. But I remember I think the hardest class that I ever took in college was just Chemistry 101. And it wasn't because of the information. It was because I had 400 people in an auditorium in my class.
You can't learn like that.
I can't.
You just can't.
No, I couldn't hear much of it. I couldn't see the teacher. They looked like a little jelly bean up at the front. Like, it was just not a way for me to connect with people. And I've gotten more and more as I get older like that, where I really want to focus my energy in a way that is fair, where I can really connect with somebody or a small group of people.
Which is the whole point of this anyway, right? Connection. That's what it boils down to at the end. It's connection, you know? So I think that's a good goal to have in mind.
Yeah.
So you just taught your first mantra class today, right?
Well, I had my first, I guess, remote. We did a FaceTime chant session.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I've done harmonium lessons over FaceTime before, but I've never had, it just hasn't worked out. I've had a couple of opportunities, but I had my first chant student today.
So if people wanted to start a chanting practice, what would you recommend they do?
The first thing that I would say is listen to sacred music, listen to mantra music. Just look up the genre chant or kirtan on YouTube or something and get drawn to particular qualities of voices or qualities of sounds. And, you know, intuitively we're going to be guided to the information that is going to help us at that time. Like this morning when I was preparing for my chant student, I was looking through my notes. I have a philosophy teacher, Douglas Brooks.
Oh, I just had a long conversation about Douglas Brooks on maybe 2 episodes ago. Well, by the time this airs, I have no idea how many episodes ago, but I recorded with Summer Sobin in Chapel Hill.
Oh, I love them.
You know them?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they're amazing.
They came, they were good friends with Ashley Ludman from Seaside, and I started at Seaside, and so I got to study with them a lot too.
They're awesome.
amazing.
I just met them. So they opened a new studio in Chapel Hill called Thousand Petals Yoga.
We have to go. Field trip.
Yes, we will. I'm in Chapel Hill all the time because that's where Erin's parents live. So I'm there all the
sweet.
time. They're amazing. But she was talking about her experiences studying with Douglas Brooks.
Yeah, all the Tantra teachers. Oh, I love Douglas Brooks. He is so fun to study with. You feel like you're on a roller coaster.
That's what she said. I think she used that exact word, actually.
Yeah, you do feel like that. But then at the end, like, he'll be next to the car, holding your hand, getting out of the car, and being like, so the things you need to remember are 1, 2, and 3. And you're like, oh, thank you. It's like, I don't know, like a great orgasm at the end of a lovemaking session. It's like completion, thank you. And he would love that I'm talking about that. Douglas Brooks is all about the Tantra. So
maybe he should be on the podcast. I probably wouldn't even know what to say to him.
He should be. He would just, you could just let him talk.
Yeah.
And then people's minds would explode with joy.
Sounds like a plan to me. Douglas Brooks, I'm in if you're in.
Bring it. RajanicaYoga.com.
Yeah.
Anyway, I attended a workshop with him, and it was all about the goddess. It was Kali Shri. And so I was looking at my goddess notes, and I found that one of the features, one of the qualities, one of the boons that Durga bestows is patience. And I must have learned that a few times, but I never really internalized it. And then when I got on the phone with my chant student, I asked her what her intention was, and she said, I want to be able to embody and to learn for myself and for my son patience.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I already knew that she wanted to talk about Durga because we had planned that. So,
That's really interesting.
yeah. So I think that you will be guided to what will benefit you if you just listen.
I was just about to say, the trick is you have to be open to hearing it.
Yes.
You know, it's always out there. The message is always there. But I think a lot of us spend so much time where we're so consumed in the to-dos of our lives and the hustle of our lives, and also wrapped up in all the illusion of our lives, you know, all the Maya that sometimes we can't even see or hear. It makes me, this is a terrible analogy, but it makes me think of my cute little French bulldog, Hank. Hank, he's so cute. He gets so fixed on one thing, and I say these things all the time. I'm like, oh, he can't hear over the smell of that, you know, because he'll be
a perfect expression.
But he'll be smelling something so intensely, and I'll be like, Hank, and he like cannot hear me. I'm like, oh yeah, he can't hear over the smell of that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
true.
But that's kind of how we're living our lives.
Yeah,
you know, we can't hear over all the other things that we're doing.
Yeah, we get so caught up in, you know, putting one foot in front of the other that, you know, there's more. But I would say that because music is something that you can do, like, you can put it in the background while you're doing your 18,000 other things, like any good Westerner. And so when you hear music, it's like it doesn't take any effort to listen to music while you're doing something else. So if you want to get a chant practice going, I would just listen to chant music and just sort of make a note either physically or mentally, of what you like, whose voices you're drawn to, what they're saying, if you know, and then that will start your practice. And I would encourage them to, if they can find a mantra, look up the meaning of it, because if it's Sanskrit, you have so much fun work to do. Like you can, like the whole mantra itself means one thing, but every single syllable means something else.
Yeah.
And then if you can get into the mouth positions and the way that it affects your physical body and your energy body and your spiritual body, it's just, there's so much to learn. So start small and just listen to music, because that doesn't really take effort, and you're already getting your chant practice. And then by the time you're able to start vocalizing it, you've learned so much already. And just getting comfortable using your voice, even just humming or singing in the car. I'm a big drummer on the steering wheel. I got that from my dad. Thanks, Dad. So that's where I would start. I would just start by listening and, go from there. And also call me.
So my mantra practice, it kind of ebbs and flows. I think like practice often does. That's why it's a practice, and there's a commitment and staying disciplined, But I do have to say that when you said, first of all, hitting the steering wheel, the car was my number one place to learn mantra. It's just the only time that I was like really by myself that I could figure it out and like practice over and over and over. But I don't even remember where I was going to go with this. What was I talking about? Mantra. What was the last thing you said?
Music, drumming on the steering wheel.
Music, drumming on the steering wheel.
Well, while you're thinking about it, I can recommend a resource.
Yes.
So there's a great, I have a wonderful teacher. His name's Thomas Ashley Farrand, or Namadeva. And he has this amazing book, and I get it on audiobook because the car is my university as well.
Audiobooks are awesome.
Audiobooks are amazing. It takes very little effort, and you learn so much. By the time I am done with my 6-hour drive, I'm like, oh, here I am.
I've just learned so much.
I got transported, and I've learned so much. So the source is called Mantras, Sacred Words of Power. And if you I got an Audible subscription, and I got that as like my free, you get like 2 free credits a month or something. Yeah. And then I'm not a member anymore, so I ended up getting his book for free.
Oh.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I have, extra money for subscriptions, I'm going to go back on. But Mantras, Sacred Words of Power by Thomas Ashley Farrand. It's like 8 or 9 hours of content. And it is not only how to say the mantras, but a little bit of chanting, and then information on pretty much what everything means. I mean, I learned so much.
That's awesome.
So much.
Do you offer, I know you said you're putting together online courses. Do you offer, or do you plan on offering online courses for learning how to play the harmonium?
Yes.
Yeah, I took one a long time ago, and I actually learned a lot from it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I learned mostly Mary Glockmeyer, who's from here in town. She taught me a lot on the harmonium, but I learned a little bit online, and then also I just sit down and figure it out. Luckily, I have a little bit of an ear, because I played instruments too as a child. I played piano and I played the flute, and so I can kind of figure some things out, even if I can't read music anymore. But if I hear a mantra or a chant I like, I can figure out how to play it. It might sound terrible for an hour or two. It might be like, what is she doing in there? But I can figure it out. So a lot of it too is just sitting down like anything else and practicing.
Yes, sit and practice, actually using your voice. Because mantra, it doesn't have to be Sanskrit. It could just be some sounds.
Yeah.
Like just actually using your instrument of your voice. And if we're lucky enough to be able to speak and hear, then first of all, we're really gifted and rare. And then second of all, like you've already got your practice. You can just start to make sounds and hum, and different pitches resonate with different energy centers in the body. And it doesn't even have to be a word. You don't really have to know what you're saying for it to work.
First, I think the title of this episode should be Using the Instrument of Your Voice. That's a good one.
Okay.
And secondly, because you were making me think of that title, I was also thinking about how powerful it is to learn mantra if you become brave enough to practice mantra and to sing mantra, then suddenly you're brave enough to start saying things too. It's exercising your voice, you know? And now look, I've never had a problem exercising my voice. Not a once, you know? So my issues are probably like, it's over exercised, you know? But I think for a lot of people to be able to sing mantra is a really big deal and empowers them to use the instrument of their voice in other parts of their lives too.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many benefits, you know, you can learn to hear what it is that you need. You can hear what you're called to do. You can learn how to speak up for yourselves. You can learn how to speak compassionately. You can really be very clear about what you are saying. And, you know, the words that we say come from the thoughts that we have, and we're really creating our life like moment by moment. So I'm trying to really be conscious of the words that I say, because words have power, because they're just vibrations.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm saying things like, oh, I can't do that, I'm poor.
I've never said that before. I think I said it like 25 times yesterday. I swear. I was like, I have to make more money.
So then the universe is like, well, okay, then you're poor.
God damn it, you're right. I have to stop saying stuff like this.
Yeah.
My boyfriend listens to every episode of Dharma Drops because he's just as sweet as can be. And he is constantly telling me, and he's going to listen to this one and then come home and be like, see, I told you so. He's constantly telling me to watch my inner dialogue.
Yeah.
Constantly. You know, if you say things like, I can't, I'm poor, then the universe is like, oh, you're right. You are poor.
Yeah, and you're going to be poor for the foreseeable future, and until you can stop saying that.
We're so rich. We're so rich.
We're so rich.
We have everything.
We do.
We really do. We have, I mean, I say things like I'm so poor. I've been to places like India. I'm not poor.
Right.
At all.
No,
you know, I'm greedy is what I am.
We are sitting on a clean floor in a 2-bedroom apartment with stairs, with multiple places to use the bathroom.
Yep. In clean clothes.
In the middle of the day.
Yep.
You know,
with
recording a podcast.
MacBook Pro that costs a lot of money.
They do cost a lot of money. I need one of those.
I had a really weird experience, and actually I was looking up and seeing the picture of, is that from Homes of Hope?
Yeah,
the girls?
yeah.
So Homes of Hope is an organization that's actually operated out of Wilmington, but they have orphanages. 16 orphanages all over India. And I actually went to one years ago and volunteered on my own. It wasn't through like any organization, but a friend and I went, and we were there for about a week. We traveled for a week, volunteered for a week, then traveled for a week. And I had this moment because everyone there was very poor and there were minimal resources, because we were in what's considered a small town in India, which would seem like huge to me, you know, but it was like out in the village a little bit. It was like you had to go back down this dirt road. Electricity only came on for a few hours a day, you know, and I just remember watching one of the sisters that worked there. She like picked up individual grains of rice and put them back in the bowl to be eaten. And I was like, I'm an asshole. My shoes right now, they cost me $150. My phone, what's an iPhone cost? I don't even know how much my phone costs. $1,000? More? I have no idea. And then I had like an iPad and all this stuff. And I was like, the crap that I'm carrying in my backpack could feed these people forever.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And not that I necessarily have to carry a tremendous amount of guilt with these things, because I don't think that gets us anywhere, but it was perspective.
Right.
You know, deep perspective.
Can we just turn that into gratitude?
Right.
And then also like that, you know, Shakti power to create platforms that help people, and that if you feel fulfilled and if you feel your most authentic and most helpful self in the world, then you have opportunities to then give back and, you know, be generous with your time and do free things as well. Because I've been trying to really, on that note where we said, you know, I'm poor, I can't do that. Like if we change our mindset and we remember that if we are prosperous and we are experiencing artha, wealth, that it doesn't mean that we are then taking away from somebody else. But if we can be our best selves and we have more to give. So
yeah,
that's how I like to think about it.
Yeah, that's a better way of thinking about it than just moping around your house. Oh, I need more money.
Yeah, and you're not an asshole.
No, I mean, I try not to be. Look, there was a version of Rebecca Warfield pre-yoga that many people would say was an asshole.
Weren't we all assholes before yoga, or even during, like, humans are assholes sometimes?
Yeah.
Right?
I have the potential to be one anytime you want. You know, I just work really hard to be a better person. Okay, so mantra, we know, listen to mantra music to kind of decide like the style, the vibe that you like. What else can folks do who want to, not just a mantra practice, but like a bhakti practice, who want to move, maybe people who want to move from asana into more devotional practices, or people who don't even like physical yoga, because I think that everyone thinks that yoga is just asana. Of course, we know that's not true. So what are some other things folks can do to begin deepening their practices elsewhere?
Okay. I think that, to be completely honest, I think that cultivating a meditation practice where you just sit and you try not to think is the hardest thing ever.
I can't do it, and I can't do it. Can you?
The only time that I can attempt to do it in a way that feels successful, and again, that's just my expectations limiting my practice, right? We do that. Chanting gets me there to the point where I can then finally just sit and breathe.
Yeah.
And learning how to play the harmonium and chanting like that is the thing that helped me to learn how to meditate, because before I couldn't do it. Because I need to move, you know.
Me too. I can't.
Move.
Me too. I can't sit down, and I think most people can't sit down and just meditate. Some can, maybe really experienced people can. I can't. I have too much energy.
Yeah.
Usually, the only way I can sit down and meditate is after I've practiced asana or exercised or something to get all that energy out.
Yeah, I think that in order to create a connection or union of all aspects of yourselves in other ways than just asana, could be if we, like in the 8 limbs of the path, asana is only one of the pieces, right? So if we can just apply the principles of bhakti, where you infuse devotion into every aspect of your life, I think the simplest way to start that, even just like anybody can do this, no matter where they are. I try to practice the very, very first thing when I wake up in the morning, as soon as I realize that I'm awake. And sometimes I have to bring my mind back to this, because inevitably it starts and it's like Leonard Skinner. Who knows what's happening in there? I don't know. I don't even like Leonard Skinner. Free bird! Free bird! Target! Gotta, run today. Oh, no, come back. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, God, I am alive. Universe, thank you. Just thank you. And then if you can create some sort of reverence, some time in the morning is really, I think the morning is very helpful, because you feel, hopefully, mostly rested. And then you could maybe, depending on your personality, you could write.
Yeah.
Or you could light a candle and move a little bit. Like, who says that movement is not sacred, right? It doesn't have to be yoga. It could just be like gentle stretching or something. But just creating a space and time as regularly as possible where you are just feeling gratitude, feeling maybe connected with yourself. Maybe you have some free time, even if it's just for parents of young children, like if you have the luxury of sitting on the toilet by yourself, like that toilet time, that like 2 minutes or something can be just like luxury. You can close your eyes and you can just say thank you or whatever.
I have an old colleague from UNCW, and after she had her first baby, she was like, you know what I do for fun now? I shower.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good space too, because that's often some time that you have by yourself. You can just shower and it feels like you're clean. And that actually is the time when I practice a lot of mantra, because my congestion's cleared out and I sound pretty and it echoes,
Yeah.
But it's like just this like nice, clean, purifying time,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say just the more that we can take care of our basic needs so that we're able to be healthy enough to find the sacred in everything that we're doing, because you can make everything a ritual and a ceremony and an offering. And that's really what bhakti yoga is. It's just creating reverence in all of these different ways. There's 9 moods of bhakti yoga, and they're all just creating devotion. And in this, modern space that we're living in, you can have just as much devotion, like doing the dishes and taking out the trash, as anything else.
I've always thought that the practices of cooking it's bhaktas, right? For bhakti yogis or bhaktas, right? For bhaktas is really beautiful and not something I do on the reg just because I often feeding myself is just like, I'm starving, I have to get something to eat, you know? But this whole practice of like making food and preparing food as a sacred practice, and it's really beautiful because then you're also nourishing other people often if you're cooking for other people. You're also nourishing them with that devotion too, which is really beautiful.
Right.
You know, and I feel like when food's cooked with love.
You totally do.
You
It
do.
tastes different, feels different. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the practice of cooking, like if we were going to be learning about Ayurveda, then we know that it's not only like the prana in the food, it's the way that you prepare the food. Is it raw? Is it cooked? You know, it all has different energies. And then, beyond that, like the way that we enjoy the food. Like, are we stuffing like cold pizza in our face in the car as we go from yoga to our
cold pizza
dance rehearsal?
Are you talking about me right now?
Perhaps so.
Because maybe someone, not you, in this room has like 15 minutes to get to rehearsal after teaching yoga.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never done anything like that before.
I've told this story, I think, on Dharma Drops before, but I was seeing this therapist for a while, and she was like, you have to just stop eating in the car. And she was like, you have to sit down and eat your food and be mindful. And I was like, whatever. Like, what does this lady know?
I don't have time.
So then I'm in my car, and I'm eating, and I look over, and who's at the light next to me? And I was like, oh, shit.
Busted.
Yeah, so I try not to eat in my car anymore. Sometimes I'll have a snack, but it's been a pretty rare occasion that I've like ate a sandwich, while going down the road. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes for me it's unavoidable, but
I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah. And so, but if we can just accept that and say, okay, cool self, but we know that if we sat down and we looked at the food that we had prepared and we just smelled it and we took time like chewing it, like in a seat, would feel totally different than if we were doing 10 things, like, eating so that, by the time we get to our next appointment, we have level blood sugar. That's different.
Right.
So yeah, cooking is a beautiful practice of nourishing others as an offering. I love that.
Me too. I've always thought it's really sweet. And even there's a restaurant here in Wilmington. I can't think of the name of it. Aaron and I call it the Noodle Hut, but that's not what it's called. It's maybe like the Noodle House or something. I can't remember. And my guesses are probably Buddhists. I don't know, but they offer prasad. They have a little altar and there's prasad, like a little offering of food every time I go in there, and you can tell they change it all the time, which is really
beautiful.
sweet. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things about traveling to India and to Thailand, because even if you went in like the little bodega, like the corner store, there was an altar. And so just infusing everything with the sacred aspect of life and what you believe, and just offering gratitude, even if it is not in any sort of like spiritual or religious manner, even just being grateful for what you have and being generous with it, I think is a great bhakti practice
For
too.
sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we got bhakti, and you've been teaching mantra lessons. What else is on your plate these days?
Well, I mean, in terms of mantra, I love offering kirtan. That's like my absolute favorite practice.
I love
Can
kirtan.
get people to, 1, show up, and 2, sing with me.
I'll sing with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my favorite. I also love, and I haven't done this in a while, Kristen Cooper-Gulek and I were talking about having another ecstatic dance class, because for years we used to lead her form, which is called rhythmic dance. It's like more based on the elements.
Interesting.
So I love offering that. That's super fun. I haven't done it in a while.
I've only done ecstatic dance one time, and I was not into it. I think it's because I dance, and I'm used to like this structure. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden I'm like, what is happening in here?
Yeah.
Maybe if I was, pardon me, it was also like with a group of people that I didn't know in like a town that I had just like first time there. And I also had like a really weird experience with this yoga teacher. She like, I recently had a back injury, and she was like, it's because you're resisting. And I was like, who the fuck are you? It's because my disc slipped out of my spine. It has nothing to do with resisting your restorative yoga pose. Pardon me. So I was already a little like, over it, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe I should try it again.
You had that little pit of fire.
Oh, girl, there's a lot
the
of pits of
event.
fire in there. There's a lot of everything in here right now.
Rhythmic dance is cool because we catered to just that experience, like needing a little bit more structure to then get to the point where you feel like you can just sort of open up. Like, I have a dance background too.
See, you do everything.
Everything. There's
Pardon me, I keep clearing my throat. I'm sorry.
Do you want some water?
No, yeah, I have some right here.
Oh, yeah.
It's just my allergies. It's like
They've been worse this year for me.
terrible, and now they're all on my chest.
So yeah, I guess I'm just. It's funny. My boyfriend would say that all I ever do is yoga, chanting, and noodles.
Noodle at the Noodle Hut.
You need to direct me to this.
They
noodle
have really
hut.
good pho.
I need a whole house of noodles.
Yoga, chanting, and noodles. Maybe that's the name of this episode.
Yoga, chanting, and noodles. It's really all I do. But I guess on the horizon for me, in addition to yoga teacher trainings and workshops, I do have an India retreat coming up.
You do?
Yes.
That's amazing.
February 6th through the 16th, we have 6 spots left, and it's a sweet retreat because half the time we stay at one of the Homes of Hope orphanages. Like, we stay in the orphanage.
What orphanage do you stay at?
In Hassan.
That's the one I was at.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Huh.
With like all their beautiful gardens and stuff.
Random.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's one of the smaller orphanages. Yeah.
And kind of newer, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. No one I've known has like even heard of Hassan before. Interesting.
We were meant to figure that out.
I
now.
know. Okay, anyway, sorry, go ahead.
And then the other half, we stay at a hotel in Mysore.
Oh, cool. I haven't
And
been to Mysore.
I've only been to Cochin. So I have not ever traveled while I've been to India, and I've been to India 4 other times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've only been once. We were there for 3 weeks, and I was exhausted by the time it was over. Like, we started off in Chennai, and then we went to Delhi, and then we were in Hassan, and then we were in Dharamshala, and then we were in Bangalore. Actually, we were in Bangalore twice. We were all
In 3 weeks?
over that country.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah,
I called
that's
it
a lot.
grown-up backpacking, which is where you fly everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, we're getting plane tickets. I'm not doing anything that's complicated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you took a train, it would take you like 2 days to get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that February 6th through the 16th, and if you put my website in the show notes, they can find.
I sure will. So,
That.
what is the website to be able to register?
It is. Well, if they go to my website, they can find the link. But also, if you go onto wilmingtonyogacenter.com,
Okay.
they'll find the retreat there as well.
Okay, cool. And what's your website?
It is Narayani Shakti.
Can you spell that for people?
NARAYANISHAKTI.com.
Oh, and so when you need to like listen to that one more time, just hit that 15-second backward button.
Yeah.
You know, get that one more time.
Yeah. NarayaniShakti.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's really exciting. So an India retreat coming up.
India retreat, that's super exciting. I'm going to try to get these online courses launched, and there's going to be an Ayurveda course, there's going to be a harmonium course, there will be a bhakti mythology and mantras course, and I'm going to, I think, offer that as a class series again in Wilmington at maybe Terra Soul Sanctuary.
Cool. Awesome.
Just, and more kirtan.
Awesome. That's so cool. Okay, so we know how to find your website, but before we get into all that nitty gritty, is there anything else that you want to share with Dharma Drops listeners? And big takeaways, like that Douglas Brooks moment. Here's the 3 things you need to know.
I would say that you are loved.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, you are loved. You are worthy. And you can do anything that you decide that you can.
That's awesome. That was sweet. I would have said something like ridiculous. That was like really good and heartfelt.
Well, you got me there. You were like, the 3 things you need to know from
3
Douglas
things.
Brooks. I was like, oh my God.
Okay, so we can find you on your website. What about on social media?
Okay, so my handles, do you say handles?
Yeah, handles.
Okay, my handle on both Facebook and Insta is Narayani Shakti.
Oh, so we're right back where we started here.
So Narayani Shakti Insta, Narayani Shakti Facebook, and NarayaniShakti.com are my websites. And I have, it's a very sporadic podcast as well called the Yoga Love Podcast. And it's just sort of like extra conversations from my yoga teacher training students. And you can find that on my website if you like. And I like when someone asks me a specific question, I like to record something from, based on that.
Cool.
So,
awesome.
nothing regular and professional like Dharma Drops, but,
it's regular. I don't know if it's professional.
It is. You're doing great.
Hey, thank you. I try. I just try to do my thing and keep it real, You're either going to love or hate it. So that's that.
Yep. One of the best things I ever learned was my friend Kristen Cooper-Gulak taught me that 80% of the time people will like it, it'll be cool, and 20% of the time people will not like it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And I think that's really important in anything. Like, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. Some people are just not going to like what you're doing.
Haters.
They're going to hate, and they can just move on.
Hate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have learned that if you have had an experience with haters, it means that, one, the universe is testing you. Like, are you really committed to this thing? Like, do you really want this? Mm-hmm. And then two, that you're on the right track. Because
I've heard that.
It's creating a lot of energy around it. Mm-hmm. And that can be a lot for people. So
I forget, there's this saying, like, if you don't end up with, like, one hater, you're not doing your job, or something like that. I forget what it is.
And also, are you really being truly authentic? Because, like,
do you hear my stomach growling?
We're not forever. And I was like, what is that?
That was, like, picked up by the
center
microphone.
Of the
That was crazy.
Perhaps you need to eat sitting down.
I didn't even know I was hungry. Sorry, go ahead.
That was amazing.
That was crazy. No.
Okay.
What were you saying while I was apparently trying to eat everything?
What was I saying?
I don't even know about haters.
Oh yeah, like, if you don't have any haters, like, are you really being truly authentic? Because not everyone is supposed to like us. Like, we're not for everyone.
Yeah. And I think that's an important part of teaching yoga and just, of course, life in general, but there's this desire for us to, like, want to be liked,
It was so hard for me to get over. Mm-hmm. And I'm still, like, I feel like I'm about to turn 40 in December, and I'm just finally getting to the point where I can be okay knowing that there's some people out there that, like, aren't in love with what I'm doing.
Well, I've been teaching teenagers for my entire professional life. I'm so used to being hated. It's like... I'm like totally used to it. You should see the things I write about me on, like, Rate My Professor. It's hilarious. It's like, she won't remind you of when things are due. Who even looks at the course calendar anyway? Let me tell you who didn't, because I think I can tell you who didn't. Or like, I forgot to turn in 2 of the 3 assignments and I failed. Yes, of course you did. So I'm pretty used to being hated by people who don't even ask me what they're doing. But I
think, hormones make you kind of grumpy.
Yeah. They do. And they're just figuring their way into the world.
Yeah. If it's your fault, then, they don't have to do the work yet.
That's right. I was never like that. Just kidding.
No, I was never like that. And also, I didn't turn it around the other way and become a total people pleaser.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you need? How can I make you like me?
Always living on the edge, one or the other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way I like to end the podcast is to talk about things that don't have anything to do with anything. Woo. Because I do believe there's a lot happening in life that's not related to yoga, even though we can hold this all in our hearts and in our lives all the time. So are there any things that you're really into right now that you want to share? Like TV shows, podcasts, books, pardon me. She's like doing this good dance right now, like pumping her shoulders.
I really love dancing. And for me, it's like reclaiming, like, just that it's fun and that I don't have to, like, do this move in this way. And that my body's good as it is.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Right. So I'm really, really into dancing. And so I just find music that I like and I just try to shake it as hard as I possibly can.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like...
That's fun.
Time. Mm-hmm. And honestly, reading things that are just fun, I haven't done that in a while.
Me either. Do you know what I just bought? And it's like mildly embarrassing, but it's October, so that means it's time to watch Hocus Pocus. Right? I mean, that's what you do, right? At least what I do. I was watching Hocus Pocus, and I was Googling Hocus Pocus because I was trying to see like how long ago it came out and all this stuff, and I saw that there was a written sequel, the book. So I bought it. but I haven't started it yet.
That's so fun.
I really like young adult literature. It's really sweet, and I think it covers, the thing is, the young adult experience is no different than the adult experience. It's just not. We're dealing with the same shit our whole lives. You know, we just see it a little bit differently, or maybe we get more tools to be able to deal with it along the way, or maybe we lose tools to deal with it along the way. So I really like young adult literature, but I haven't started it yet, so I don't know if it's any good.
It's gonna be fun.
It is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about something that I do that is not like yoga or self-development related, and it's making me think like I need to.
It's sometimes when I ask people this, they don't have an answer.
Yeah.
And I think one thing, I don't want to call it a flaw of the yogi, but it is, I think, an issue sometimes. It does become all-consuming. And I don't know if that's always amazing. You know, like, it's nice to have something else, whether it's like a movie or, I don't know, or a book or something. At least you know, that's one of the reasons why I even started this podcast, is because I found myself in that position. I was like, I've got nothing else going on, but there's all sorts of, there it goes again, my stomach. Apparently I'm starving.
Sounds like thunder.
I know. But it's not. It's sunny and 94 degrees outside in October. This is the worst. It's not thunder at all.
Rebecca hates to be hot.
I hate the heat. I don't even know why I'm living here. So hot.
Ooh, I thought about something that I do that's not yoga related. I really, 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 really like reggae music.
Oh, cool.
And my boyfriend just happens to be in a reggae band.
Oh, well, that works out really well.
I like to go and hear them play. They're great.
That's cool.
They're called Zion Roots.
Awesome.
And they're playing some really super divey places around. So I feel like it's
dives are the best, though.
Anthropological experiment when I go in. I'm like, yes, they're so not my people. And that's so good for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Can't think of anything. I mean, like I said before, I've been so busy trying to like get podcasts and business stuff done. What?
I surf. I love surfing.
Surf. I like how now all these things
I'm
are.
like, oh my God, I do have a life. Yeah, I love surfing. So I gave my boyfriend's son recently an old shortboard that I had, and he just took it and ran with it.
Oh, that's
He's
cool.
such a good surfer. It's incredible.
That's awesome.
So I got my old board fixed, and I've only been out like once or twice, but that's something that I've been like rediscovering because I used to surf every day.
You really? That's cool. I have never surfed. I'm not much of an ocean person. I've only been to the beach twice this year. And for those of you listening who don't live in Wilmington, because now we have listeners in 50 countries. That's 50, which is really exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah. For people who don't live in Wilmington, right now we're maybe 4 miles from the Atlantic Ocean at your house, if
it might
that.
take us like 5 to 6 minutes to get there.
Yeah, you know, and I live just down the street from Noelle, so I mean, I'm very close to, and I never go to the beach. You know, I grew up outside of Washington D.C. Never been to the White House. Never seen any of that stuff. You know, when you live there, maybe you just don't do it as much.
Yeah, it's like we kind of just assume that it's just going to be there. And that maybe we'll do it one day. Yeah. Well, maybe we should do some sort of thing when it gets cooler.
Yes, only when it gets cooler.
Thing.
I'm not going outside right now. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
Nope, not going. Okay. So anything else you want to share before we part ways today?
Thank you for having me. I love that your first yoga class was with me.
Yes,
and
it's so exciting.
To see all the amazing things that you're doing. Like,
thank you.
It's just really exciting.
Thank you. Then thank you for being one of my first yoga teachers ever.
Yay.
So exciting. Guys, if you want to find me, you can catch me on Facebook at Rebecca Warfield Yoga and Dharma Drops. And don't forget, you can join the Dharma Drops community page, and there's all sorts of cool stuff happening in there, live videos. Oh, you could do a live mantra video in the Dharma Drops community page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Great.
let's do it. I have no idea when, where, or how we're going to do it, but we're going to. So join, and then you will be able to have access to that. You can also find me on Instagram at Rebecca Warfield Yoga and at Dharma Drops Podcast. And as always, everything that you ever need to know about Dharma Drops is at dharmadropspodcast.com. Okay, guys, I have to eat.
Yeah, like now.
Like now. All right. Until we meet again next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Dharma Drops. If you haven't done so already, head over to Facebook and join the Dharma Drops community page. Just search for Dharma Drops community page. Imagine it. That's DHARMA, Dharma Drops community page. Once you join, there's all sorts of cool stuff happening in there. We have giveaways, we have exclusive podcast updates, live videos, new content from the guests, and more. So please join the Dharma Drops community page on Facebook. And also don't forget to rate and review and subscribe to Dharma Drops on whatever app you're listening to Dharma Drops on. Really, truly, I've said it 1,000 times and I mean it every single time. This podcast cannot be a success without your support. All right, guys, see you next time.